Hello all my garden nerds, my name is Amy and I am the Nerdy Urban Gardener. So today is November 3rd, Election Day. I voted, I hope all of you did too. And we had our first hard frost a couple of nights ago. So as you can see behind me, everything has died off. Really sad time of the year. So as I was out here starting to clean up some of the stuff that's gone kaput, I realized that I actually have quite a bit that is still green and still kind of going strong. So I thought maybe I would show you guys a few things that you could put into your gardens to help keep them looking slightly green even during these cold seasons. So one of the first things that I'll show you guys, and you can see very clearly here, is still going strong, is the kitchen sage. It definitely holds its color, and if you look, my kitchen sage plant is more of a kitchen sage bush. It's pretty large, but it'll hold its color through the entire winter, and it will just start to have new growth in the spring. So I love that. I'll usually cut it back in the late winter, early spring, just so that the new growth can come in and kind of flourish. But kitchen sage is a great plant to have in the garden during this time of year if you want a little bit of green. This bucket right here is kind of twofold on what's good to have in the garden, because we've got carrots, which I did mention in my fall planting. Carrots are great because they will hang out and survive under the soil for quite some time through the colder seasons. You can just kind of use it as a refrigeration unit. Just keep them in the ground and pull them when you need them. The second thing in this pot right here that you can see is this right here, which is calendula, and there's actually a bloom in there. So calendula, I've had calendula flower straight through December here in my zone, which again is zone 6B/7. So calendula and of course carrots, which is a great edible, and then calendula is great for medicinal purposes, but it's really nice to just have that bright sunshiny orange in the garden just when you need it for the fall and the winter. You can see back here, now mine isn't pretty, I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of things you can do, but these, about 2 days ago, these were beautiful green marigolds, and I was patiently waiting to see if they would flower, and unfortunately they never did. But behind them you can see some brassicas, so there's a little broccoli head on this one still. Brassicas will hold their own for quite some time in the garden. Right now I have some broccoli still, some kale, a little bit of cauliflower still growing, and some kohlrabi in my front yard. So brassicas are a fantastic green to have in the garden for the colder months. So again, brassicas, like I just said, here is one of my cauliflowers, which unfortunately did get a lot of whitefly and some aphids, but it's still in here. I am slowly pulling pieces of it off to give to my bunnies and my goats and stuff, and you know, hopefully when the head is ready, it's starting to head underneath there, I can pick that and eat that. But brassicas are a great option for the cold months, and once everything else, like your sad tomatoes, are dying, you can still use the brassicas. So if we're just talking plants and not necessarily edible plants, then this is a corabelle, and corabelles are, I've had this corabelle and a couple other ones in pots in the yard. I don't even take them inside. I just leave them out here, and they last forever. They little bits, you know, dead bits will die off, and you just pull them out, and then it just keeps growing. The leaves don't even die off through the winter. So corabelle is a really great plant to have. The flowers, you know, you can see the stems kind of die off, but the leaves will last. Corabelles are a fantastic plant to have, you know, just as a decorative, kind of bring a little bit of life into a dead wintry garden. So just to give you an idea of the variety that you can get with the corabelles, this one is a beautiful orangey, autumny red color, and on the back of the leaves they're really, really red. No filter here, so they're really beautiful. This corabelle I've had on my front porch, just kind of hanging out on my stairs, I would say going on 7 or 8 years now, this exact plant, and it hasn't died. It just hangs out. It dies back a little in the winter, and then it comes right back in the spring. And then over on the other side, you can see I've got some mums here. This is another Corabelle, and look at this color. It's incredible. It's really beautiful. It pops. So I'll leave these out. I don't even bring them in. I leave them exactly where they are. Again, they're just hanging out on my porch. I love Corabelle. They're a fantastic plant to have. And if you need a little burst of color and life in your yard for the fall and winter, they're a great option. Another really pretty plant to have in your yard, and it'll survive for quite a while in the cold, is Corydalis. I've had Corydalis last straight through some of November, and I'm not really into December, but quite a while. But you can see that my Corydalis is actually still flowering. This one, it just kind of grows everywhere in my yard. This one is actually under my picnic table, just growing around my umbrella stand. But it kind of pops out. You can see it popping out over here through the rock wall. It always looks so beautiful when it's coming out of the wall through the summer and filling it in. But I love Corydalis, and it's one of my favorite things to have in the garden just because it does last for quite a while. This plant right here is behind a very dead tomato, unfortunately. Again, this is from this weekend's frost, but and there's a couple of tomatoes in there. I'll have to pick those after. But this plant right here is a winter rose, and the winter rose will last, the greens will last through the whole fall, and it will actually start to flower very early on. It's called the winter rose, or the hellebore. It's one of my favorite flowers, actually. Hellebore and nasturtiums are my two favorite flowers. But they will start to flower very early on, you know, like late March, April, somewhere in there. So always a good one to have, but it'll stay green through the winter, even after numerous frosts. So going back to food sources that you can keep in the garden, keep them growing during the colder months, radishes. You can see I've got a radish there that I've got to pick, but radishes have a really quick maturity rate. They mature to harvesting size within 4 weeks or so. So you can be planting those straight through October. I think I planted these ones at the beginning of October. They'll keep going, so I'm gonna hang on and just pick them as I need them. And then I'll use the greens as well. If for some reason I'm not able to get the radishes to maturity, I can just pick them and eat the greens. So that's another great plant to have in the garden. So one last thing that you can grow and continues to thrive during a bit of the colder weather. It will eventually die off if I don't pick it, but this is a turnip. So, you know, turnip can be used for the greens. It can be used for the root. But if it's getting too cold and you want to probably pick it for the greens. But yeah, turnips will do great in the cold weather, just like radishes and carrots. They're a root veggie and great option for the fall. I hope you all found a little inspiration in what I have in my gardens that is still holding its color and has a little life to it. All of you out there who are coming into the very cold months as I am, just trying to hold on to that last little bit of green in summer and thinking towards the next year. So I hope you all enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a like so that I know you watched it and you enjoyed it. And don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Thank you guys all so much for watching.